If my only answer to deal with people that I disagree with is to shun them, then my world naturally gets smaller and smaller.
Truth, outside of, some very, I think, straightforward things, can be very subjective.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's part of the thing that causes a lot of anxiety for people.
Why is there pressure here? What does it mean to you about being right?
And sometimes being curious with an individual actually encourages that other person to be curious as well and ask more questions rather than dig in. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Lighter Side of Heavy Things with me, Chris Clark, along with my co-host here, Dwayne Horton. And we here at The Lighter Side of Heavy Things take time, I guess, to be able to really think about the different things that are important for not only us, but also for what we feel our clients around this time of the year, right?
Right.
And one thing that's kind of been on our mind is that with, the approaching holidays, Thanksgiving being this week, Christmas coming up in the next few weeks, that we get to spend a lot of time with family, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Right. Right. And we get to hear a lot of fun things about families, right?
Right. And we kind of decided this would be a fun opportunity for us to kind of, talk a little bit about how do we navigate family relationships, deal with conflict, other things like that might come up as we go to these different holiday parties, and perhaps old feelings come up regarding certain stories or events or other stuff like that, whether good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah. So
or funny. Your
yeah.
Perspective.
Right. We try to see the perspective on things, right?
Yes.
It's kind of our job at times.
Well, yeah, we laugh.
Yeah.
And
maybe not.
And when we're laughing, for the record, right now, let's put it on the outset, like, we're not mocking our clients.
No.
Like, when I laugh here, I'm laughing, and if it's my client in the room, I'm laughing at them or with them or whatever. And, and it's all in good fun, right?
Right.
They've never, my clients come back because they like it, but we got to laugh at it too.
Right. I mean, isn't that, I can't remember who said it, but, one of the good indicators of mental fortitude and strength is being able to laugh at oneself.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, that's essential. Like, how do you go through life with always being afraid? I mean, I'd be an eternal teenager if I was always afraid of laughing at myself or being embarrassed or whatever. Like, it's the best part of being old. That's what I tell my young clients. Like,
right.
Wait till you're old. Then you don't care what people think anymore.
Yeah. You reach an age where, if you have to pass gas, you just don't even care anymore.
Yeah, and you're like, you just hope no one's behind you, right?
Yeah. Or maybe you do just to see what they do.
If it's your kids, yes.
But anyways, I guess I'm curious, Dwayne, because this is kind of more of an open forum one for us, right?
For sure.
But I guess, what are some common things that you often end up seeing or hearing around this time of the year with your clients?
Well, I think obviously, there's a lot of stress with all the holiday. I mean, you got Thanksgiving, you've got, all the Jewish holidays, Hanukkah and all that. You got Christmas. There's just a lot of things. Life's busy.
Yep.
Right. And then you got, work who wants to throw a Christmas party. You've got your friends who want to get together. So just gatherings in and of themselves can become tough for a lot of people, right?
Right. The expectations that are placed on you.
Well, yeah, keeping up with the Joneses mentality becomes big at this time of year, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always want bigger, better, shinier. It's never that contentment we a little bit talked about last week is a big issue. But inevitably, you get a bunch of people into a bunch of rooms and into one room, you're going to have conflict of opinion. It's guaranteed.
Yes.
And to me, I think that's the hardest thing that is our whole world is struggling with right now, is the conflict of opinion.
Yeah.
Right? People don't know how to agree to disagree without becoming disagreeable.
Right. And I feel like people have become scared of conflict
Right.
when it's a natural part of life, right? Um, you know, getting born as much as dying is natural, and
Hmm.
conflict is just as much of a part of that,
Right.
right?
Well, and I mean, to me, in a lot of ways, this is probably too flippant, but this obviously is my favorite season for many reasons. I love Thanksgiving. I think I said last time that July 5th I start planning Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Um, that is me, and but it's also a great time to get stories from your clients about what happened on the family things.
Yes.
You know, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving without somebody getting a face full of mashed potatoes or something.
Uh huh.
Uh,
Uh huh.
you
Or
know,
someone storming away.
yeah, someone upset and the whole family looking at them like, what happened to that person, right?
Right.
Um, and it is, and I'm not making light of their situation because I know my clients are doing the best they can, and I understand the stress of it. But one of the things that we talk about with our clients is like, what is an opinion?
Mm-hmm.
And in our world today, an opinion has become fact.
Right.
Right? It's like, why did we become so stupid?
Mm-hmm.
When did we think an opinion became fact? And
Well, I think it has a lot to do with that idea of safety that we've talked
right,
about, right? Like, don't want to upset, don't want to perhaps degrade someone or make someone mad or whatever, right? So
right.
we take it as gospel truth because challenging it can cause a problem.
Well, you brought up a good point there. Like, what brings in these guys the gospel truth, the opinions that are opinions, and they work within that context, is the fact that this is what they grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, for them, that's perfectly normal. Now you get, as people's children get older, and then they get married or bring home partners, and then they're bringing in, richer gene pool, so to speak, of thought,
Yeah.
and and that richer gene pool may not add up with what was there. And so if people start saying, well, this is how it's always been,
Mm-hmm.
but so one of the things that I talk with my clients often about on that is like, what tells you that that needs to be that way? Like, because it's always been done. I mean, if that's the case, that's fine. But if it's always been done that way, does that make it right? Well, I mean, the way we celebrate Christmas in America is very different than what they celebrate, down in, Mexico
Oh
or
yeah.
Central America or in Africa, right?
And who's to say that the way they celebrate it is right and the way we do it is wrong, or vice versa, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. It is our fear that seems to come up with that. And so, like, I mean, this is a common one with, like, especially kids going away to college or whatever, when they start learning for the first time to think really for themselves, to be on their own, coming up with their own ideas, their own experiences, develop their understanding of the world, right? We've talked about that as well too. Um, that is where conflict becomes, in learning to navigate that is a very essential part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
we can't avoid conflict, and nor do I think we need to, but nor do I think conflict needs to come to blows or, flying carrots.
No. Right. Right. Yams in the face,
Yes.
potatoes
Oh,
up the
gross.
nose.
Oh, yam. Dude, the texture of a yam is just gross to me.
Yeah, spaghetti squash.
Yeah.
We talked about
We
the
talked about
somatic,
oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
But
like I felt that in my back just
yeah.
thinking about that.
But I do think that um, it's important in understanding how that concept of stating fact as or stating opinion as a fact can be so detrimental in open communication.
Mm-hmm.
I know that in my work I've done in the past, in some of the groups I've ran, there was one group that I remember running where we would talk about communication. We talked about I guess the type of communication that often will exist in dysfunctional relationships, right? And we mentioned as nonverbal communication or relying on nonverbal communication is not helpful. Sticking to just safe facts, things like I saw a dog on the way to work today, just very simple surface level things. Another one that we would often talk about is that sharing opinion as fact,
Right.
as that being an issue that arises in dysfunctional relationships, because opinions at times are only as good as the paper it's written on, and sometimes that paper's toilet paper. And
You're right. Sometimes it's not even worth it. What the paper with the ink or lead used to write on that, an opinion, right?
right. So what would you do then if a client came to you and said, I struggle with Uncle John showing up, and they just
Uncle John, not Timmy.
yeah, not Timmy this time, right? I don't know, maybe
you threw me for one on that.
maybe we can say he's Uncle Tim.
Uncle Tim.
Right? He grew up. He's not Timothy anymore.
You call him Timothy.
Yeah. Uncle Tim. He's not a Timmy anymore. But, every holiday he's going to say something, that he knows
the
is
groaner,
going to...
Yeah,
he's going to say something that's going to, make people groan, roll their eyes, or just kill the conversation, kill the vibe, whatever it might be. How would you help a client navigate something like that?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the context. That is Uncle. Oh, we call him John or Tim. Like, what do we call
We'll say Tim. We'll just say Tim.
Uncle Tim. Uncle Tim, is he going to be the one bringing up the negative conversation? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Or,
I mean that's how I feel.
Okay.
Many of my clients present that situation, right?
Uh-huh.
There's that one relative they know who's going to go out of their way at some point to...
Well, that brings up a funny, interesting thing, because I don't doubt that there's Uncle Tims like that in the world. But to me, when I talk to my clients about that, first of all, I start, for the lack of a better word right now, drilling and be like, okay, wait. How did this really start?
Uh-huh.
So when I tell my clients to navigate that, the first thing is let's navigate it in a kind way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you see Uncle Tim coming at you and you're like, oh, here comes the political debate, 2025, where might start World War III.
Right.
That's steer clear. Like, I mean, no one can force you into a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To me, one of the most important things my clients need to learn on a cognitive level would be that their emotions, yes, while maybe triggered by somebody else, something in the room, it is their job to control those. It is their job to own those. It is their job to be curious about those. So, I mean, let's say it's a political debate, then I would say, what about his opinion bothers you? Is it because it's not the way things were done? The way they always were in your family? Maybe you were lifelong Democrats and now this one is a Republican coming into the room, or vice versa. What about that opinion bothers you? And be curious about that part. And then I would also want to know, what did you do to instigate it? If you were needling him at dinner, I'm like, dude, like, let's not needle.
Or you had an argument on Facebook with him, right?
Right. Like, the precursors to this is like, we got to be fair. Like, if you don't want to have a conversation, then let's lay down the ground rules. Look, let's leave politics at home. We want everybody here. Leave politics at home.
Yeah. We
can talk about it later, but we don't want this to be contentious. Set some ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
But, if that rule's not going to be, I mean, you could always do what people have tried to do and, shun them. But I'm not sure that's healthy relationships, right?
Right.
Either direction, right? If my only answer to deal with people that I disagree with is to shun them, then my world naturally gets smaller and smaller. But more importantly, that gene pool of thought disappears and starts to shrink. And the problem with a shrinking gene pool of thought is it's not far different than a gene pool of genetics, of actual genes, right?
Start getting some weird looking kids.
Yeah, you get some weird looking thought kids with like third eyes, right?
And I can understand why people would do that, because it brings that sense of safety. If I don't have to deal with conflict or challenge my own thoughts or thinkings, that's a problem. Or that it's safe. I'm preventing a problem, I should say, right? But I do think that you bring up something that I often encourage my clients as well is that natural sense of curiosity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether that's for yourself or whether that's for them, it's important to be able to just allow that curiosity to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, even just asking, Uncle Tim, like, oh, why do you think that way? Or why does that seem important to you? Perhaps being able to better understand that person and where they're coming from can help make it seem like a more safe discussion of what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
right?
But I mean, I like what you're saying there, but I'd take it half a step further.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're doing that with curiosity, you're actually allowing room for growth in yourself.
Right.
Because, right, you take your thought as polar opposite of Uncle Tim, right? Um, and but if you can go in and understand his perspective, you're naturally challenging yours,
Mm-hmm.
which means you're getting. If you start seeing it his way and you still come away disagreeing with it, you continue to further say, okay, this is why I believe this. That makes me stronger. If you start seeing his way and it brings up a thought that you never thought about before, and then your own opinion adapts naturally,
Right.
and it gets stronger.
Right. And what's really important about that too is that you can adopt certain beliefs perhaps regarding that opinion or belief or whatever it might be, but you don't have to adopt all of it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Well, I describe that like with my clients, like an artist, right? If I say yellow, it means yellow, right? I'm not an artist, but you tell an artist yellow, they're like, okay, well, how much grayscale's in there,
Uh-huh.
right?
How
You
much
know,
green is in
how
that?
much
Yeah.
green is in this thing, and they see yellow differently than I do.
Yeah.
My opinion starts to become more enhanced to a better yellow because I use yellow as my favorite color, but because then a better yellow each time because like, okay, now I'm understanding, I'm refining my thoughts, and I think better, and that's neurologically good for our brains
Mm-hmm.
to create a stronger neural network that way.
Yeah.
um, and so that's why if you can control your emotions and you're ready to have a conversation, if you don't realize that, hey, he's going to say what he's going to say and I'm never going to change his opinion, great. And that's another element of it I tell my clients. Don't go in with it to change anybody's opinion.
That's so important, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also, I feel like if people are able to approach a situation not feeling like I have to accomplish something, but it can just be present,
Mm-hmm.
man, that takes a lot of pressure off of you, doesn't it?
Right. And but what comes up with that pressure, that's another curiosity I have with my clients often, is like, why is there pressure here? What does it mean to you about being right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, the best part of being old is I don't care to be right. I just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
As long as something's getting done, as long as progress goes, like I don't care. Let's just do it. Um,
Right.
as long as no one's getting harmed, obviously, but um, there's no one right way. I mean, you're a therapist now for quite a few years, right? Like, when you see a certain number of clients, you're like, okay, at some point, I'm going to be like, I have all the knowledge out there and see all the things out there that can be seen.
Right.
And then you realize there really is none,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is no end to it. And like clients come to me, like we joke often about mine and my daughter's reason to doing something is just good enough just to be funny. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be funny. Um, that's a motivation, but how people come about what funny is different
Mm-hmm.
for everybody. And so you start to realize that in reality, what we think is solid, hard truth, I really think truth is a lot more lowercase than capitalized. Um, I definitely think there's some solid T's, like, don't kill,
Yeah.
don't do harm to people. Um, but even lowercase t's of truth, like do good to people. Like, what does good look like? What does hospitality look like? Well, it's very different in the northeast of our country versus the south versus Utah,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it's interesting that you bring up that idea as well, that truth outside of some very, I think, straightforward things can be very subjective.
oh, for sure.
And I think that's part of the thing that causes a lot of anxiety for people
Mm-hmm.
is from what they believe or what their truth is, it's the right and only way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other way around it, about it, or anything like that.
But if you had, like you're saying, that idea, that curiosity, if they have that curiosity, then they're learning more.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start to gather, oh, wait, maybe my truth isn't the gospel doctrine.
Or,
It is something else,
right,
contextual.
right. And sometimes being curious with an individual actually encourages that other person to be curious as well and ask more questions rather than dig in.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great point. Keep going.
And I think that what that then allows is a sense of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're going in like, I need to change this person's opinion or I'm right or whatnot, nothing changes, nothing happens. But if we approach it with a sense of curiosity to show that there is a genuine interest in trying to understand this person better, where they're coming from, why they may be thinking that way, at times they may start asking those questions as well. And who knows if that may actually lead them to discovering or learning something new that they weren't aware of at all.
Right. See, what you're talking about is cooperation.
Right.
Right? A conversation doesn't go like a lecture says this is how you're wrong. And I think that's what people don't understand. A conversation is about cooperation, not lecture.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In order to understand and find what might be the best choice for us, if it's all about lecture, which is an interesting point. With my clients, I don't want my clients ever to feel like they have to know everything, because then they're isolated.
Right.
Or that adds a lot of pressure, perfectionism,
mm-hmm.
right?
Or that you're always right.
You're right, and you're always right. So going off of that idea of like, hey, look, it's okay to be wrong, and it's okay to listen and learn. It's not going to kill you. I promise you. If you profess to be a Democrat, talking to a Republican, you will not get any transmitted disease just from talking to them, right? It's like
Right.
Similarly, if it's like vice versa, Republican talk, you gotta talk. But a conversation is not about talking. A conversation, the only ingredient that makes it work is listening.
Mm-hmm.
If there is no listening, well, we might as well just have, two recordings going on side by side and nothing happening.
Yeah.
Right?
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, right. And I mean, this is why family relationships tend to fall apart.
Mm-hmm. But I guess I wonder, let's kind of explore this a little bit more. Why do you feel that it is so important for people to feel like they're right?
Well, I mean, look at the value of being right. Being right, people have an internal dialogue one way or another, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have this self-perception of what I am. And if I am wrong, then that calls into question everything about me.
And how does that end up proliferating into those issues that you see your clients dealing with in their daily life?
Right. Well, if I'm wrong, well, I mean, again, we're now delving into like depression, anxiety, and those thinking patterns of that. But and this goes into a lot of other things. But it's like, well, if I'm wrong about this issue, what else am I wrong about? That brings in doubt. Doubt is an incredibly powerful tool. I remember as a child, I remember this lesson very clearly in Sunday school when I was growing up in church. How my teacher, Sunday school teacher, said, Satan was putting on this, he was retiring and he was putting on a what do you call it? It's like an auction.
Oh.
He's auctioning everything off. Here's all this. Here's adultery, and here's greed, and here's money, and here's wealth, and here's all this stuff. And what was left was a wedge. And somebody came to him, and nobody wanted to buy it. And he said to them, and so one of the auctioneers asked, "Hey, why this?" And they said, "Why are you asking such an astronomical price on this one?" And he says, if anybody understood the power of this wedge, everybody would give up everything else for that wedge. And that wedge was doubt. If they can plant a seed of doubt, then everything can start to crumble. And that is so true. doubt has a way of stopping people in their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Because fear of failure, fear of being laughed at, fear of being told no, fear of being rejected, fear of um, not succeeding the way they wanted, fear of looking stupid. That fear, that doubt, all it needs is a little grain of doubt in somebody's life to stop them.
Right.
And that's why listening is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. And I think you bring up something so interesting with all these different concepts, is that how limiting all of it ends up being for the person,
Mm-hmm.
and that perhaps the ability to actually have freedom, like actual freedom of feeling and thought, is to be okay with being wrong.
Mm-hmm. Because then you're free. If you're wrong, you lose no skin. If you're right, you gain no skin. You're okay. All you gain is, hey, I get it. I understand that concept now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what it took to understand that concept.
And that you're that the freedom to fail helps and has helped provide many of the greatest, I guess I would say, achievements I feel in
Mm-hmm.
our modern world.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly sustain that. And I'd go further that the failure that they caused was what allowed them to keep going after failure was the curiosity to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
the determination. They're like, I know this is going to work. The ability not to let doubt in their mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the Wright brothers, when they did their inaugural flight, they invited all the press. Nobody came.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because everybody thought they were crackpots. They were selling a bill of lies that no man can't fly.
Yeah.
Doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But if people could listen and recognize, it's okay for me to be wrong, but if I can listen to them, then I'm at least smart enough to know I could determine what I like and don't like.
Right.
And what is right and what's not right.
And what's so interesting is how that being okay to fail is almost like a counterfeit, or sorry, doubt is a counterfeit to that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if we feel, oh no, I'm starting to doubt myself, doubt my ability, whatever it might be, there's something wrong or something bad.
Right.
And so I can't. And I could see how that gets misinterpreted when it comes to that idea of being, well, it's okay to fail.
Right.
If I'm not good at this, oh well.
Right. Well, it's kind of like, thinking about it, it's like, I can't even actually remember if it's a movie quote, a show quote, but I say this to my kids whenever I'm about to do something stupid, whether in business or otherwise. And I'm like, no one lives forever, men.
Yeah.
It's like, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah.
And if I fail, oh well. Because, I mean, my business adventures have been that way. It's like, if I lose, I had a ride.
Yeah.
Right? I learned.
Uh-huh.
You don't get stronger without struggle, without tension, without something to overcome. Your opinion can never get stronger and more valuable unless you can understand the opposite side of it too.
Yeah. Right? And what I think so interesting is also recognizing what do we end up focusing on in those
Mhm.
moments, right? Like I think, for example, my son this past year started playing baseball in a more competitive league, and he hadn't really, I mean, outside of t-ball, played much. And anyways, he gets up to bat, and one of the first times he's up to bat, he ends up hitting the ball and ends up getting out at first, right? But that kid, he hits the ball, runs, all that sort of stuff. And in my mind, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, oh, great, he got out. He's going to be upset.
Right.
And he ends up, I see he gets out, runs back to the dugout side, or where they are, his team is. And then he comes running over to us, and he just has the biggest smile on his face. And he gives me a hug, and he's just like, Dad, I hit the ball. And I just thought it was so interesting. He didn't care if he was out or whatnot. He was just happy that he hit that ball. And, it changed what I was thinking about completely, right? I was focused on, oh no, he's going to be upset, he got out.
Right.
And he was focused on, oh my gosh, I hit the ball and I didn't think I would or was going to be able to. Because that was something he told us. He's like, I've never hit against another kid pitching the ball before. And he did that. And it was
Right.
just so, that's what his focus was on.
And that's what I think all our focuses should be on. Our focus shouldn't be on, let me prove Uncle Tim wrong. My focus should be on, let me understand Uncle Tim. Whether he likes my opinion or not, at least I can understand him.
Right.
If Uncle Tim's unwilling to listen to my opinion, it doesn't matter to me. Personally, because I just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I leave that and I see Uncle Tim once a year, right?
And it doesn't, and it's not saying that you don't care about Uncle Tim
No.
if you don't care about his opinion, right?
I just don't care. His opinion does not change unless his opinion is strong enough to persuade me, to help me understand, to show me something, a new angle that I haven't considered before. I just don't care. Now, if he gave me a new angle, he gave me a gift.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't understand my opinion, it doesn't matter. My opinion, all I care about is me.
Right.
Listening helps me allow for the ability to fear. Listening allows me to get over the doubt, to be able to fail. No one lives forever, man.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move forward. If I listen, great.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he gets upset, I can always walk away.
Right.
But my experience in this is that most people, when people feel heard, tension decreases in the room significantly.
Yeah. And I think that brings up a very important point when it comes to the communication, that perhaps maybe all Uncle Tim needs is for someone to just sit there, listen, and then say, I can understand where you're coming from.
Right.
Right? You're not saying you agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which I think some people feel like, well, if I say I understand, then I'm agreeing. Not necessarily. Right? I can understand, for example, why wars happen, why terrorists won't do what they do and that sort of stuff, but it doesn't mean that I agree with what they are doing.
Exactly. Understanding and agreeing are different. That's a great point.
And so perhaps when we are having those communications, right, sometimes just giving that little bit can be changing to the relationship as a whole.
Because he may listen back, and you never know what may come of that.
Yeah.
Some of my best relationships were people I just don't agree with.
Uh-huh.
But we were able to listen to each other. And in that listening, we formed great friendship, We can have a conversation, completely disagree, and then leave having been friends.
Yeah.
And saying, that's it. Those are the 10% of things, 5% of things we disagree on.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go and do stuff that we like to do, right? But to me, probably an old analogy, and it's probably like too many people, but I cannot express how important it is for people to understand the scientific method when it comes to communication.
Mm-hmm.
Because this communication really is about the scientific method. Because listening looks different for everybody.
Yes.
Learning to pay attention to people. Learning that if I'm not speaking and I'm only listening to understand, that doesn't mean I'm not valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So the scientific method is about taking things in our world, trying them, testing them, and then and then continuously improving upon that.
Oh yeah.
The best communicators, I learned this in several business things that I've gone to. I know people who are professional speakers that they pay people to coach them before every event.
Mm-hmm.
Because they recognize the value of good coaching, of what people giving good feedback and helping them improve.
Right. Helping someone see a blind spot that you might not have seen.
Right. And so always reevaluating it. So the basics really is go in with it and knowing that your emotions are yours. Mm-hmm. They may trigger them, but you can choose whether or not to let the anger get so out of control or not.
Right.
And if you can't, get out of the room.
Yeah. Set that boundary within yourself as much as you would with others.
And there's a basis of freedom beyond anything. Because if you can control your emotions, if people can say the most horrific things in your mind and you're not offended, what power do those people have over you?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to understand when we say that, we're saying not showing that it offended you.
Right.
Right? Just be able to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right? Just let it, I mean, if it bothers you, it bothers you. But, you know, if people are trying to do that, they're usually trying to get something over on you.
Right. And so they're prepped. Now they're like, okay, I can own my emotions. I got the freedom of my emotions. If they're going to say stupid things, it speaks to their integrity, their, who they are as a person. Then listen. Allow that listening to happen. And even though other doubters may sit and say, well, you're a fool for doing that, you cannot let them tell you that.
Right.
Don't let anybody say, well, if you listen to that person, then you're a hater, a Nazi, a fascist, or whatever it might be out there. The worst slur out there.
Yeah.
That's
Whatever
like,
words.
Yeah. Like, okay, what do you know? It takes greater courage to talk to your enemy than it does talking to your best friend. It takes greater thought to talk to people you disagree with than talking to your friends who agree with you on everything.
Yeah. Don't want that gene pool to get too shallow, right?
No, exactly. And this is really, where would we be? I mean, Galileo, he had to fight all the doubters of his day. Sir Isaac Newton, Thomas Edison with the light bulbs, right? Everybody has to face those doubts and has to silence them in themselves. When they silence them in themselves, they start to get stronger. Again, we're adding more freedom with each little gain in strength to get a little healthier, a little stronger. You're able to manage more. And listening is the key to help you be free, because if they don't want to hear your opinion, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The end, what matters is that you have happy relationships.
Yeah. And so I feel like a good way to kind of summarize everything that we've been putting together is that idea that, going into whatever gathering it might be, understand ahead of time what are the important boundaries maybe that we need to set, either for others, for ourselves, and how do we monitor those things? Be willing to ask questions. Try to remember that they're a human. They're not your enemy. They're not, whatever it might be. And sometimes exploring or even showing that you're willing to understand, perhaps through asking questions and being curious, could really help lower the tension for many people that are present.
And for yourself. And kind of like what you said earlier, understanding and agreeing are two totally different things.
Yeah.
I can understand them. I just don't have to agree with them. But then allow yourself to you don't need to know everything. Just be there and have fun.
Yeah. And I think you brought up an important point earlier that may require its own episode, is just understanding that importance of owning your own emotion.
Yeah.
Right? That think about how helpless you end up feeling when you say they make me mad.
Yeah.
They make me angry. They made me sad. They, whatever it might be. Being able to change that mindset can really make a huge difference. But I mean, that's a really big topic in and of itself.
That is a huge topic of itself. But you're right. It probably should be its own episode. But you're right. Having that ability to be in emotional control, and if it's anxiety or depression coming up, let's plan on, have conversations with your loved ones that you do trust and say, how do I want to handle this? I liked what you also said here a second ago was they're human. Understand that people really genuinely, for the most part, are doing the best they can.
Yeah. That, you know what? There might have been someone in the past who was out to get you for whatever reason it might have been, but to assume the worst doesn't get you the best.
No. And then also remember that your goal is family relationships are important. If you need to, talk about other things. Ask about their life, not their politics.
Yeah.
Ask about what they're hoping to have happen the next year.
Yeah. Try to steer the conversation into more safe, less contentious topics.
Right.
Which is very easy in many regards. Right? And realize that you also have the ability and the control to steer whatever is happening around you. And I feel like that helps also lower a lot of stress or anxiety people feel, right? You're no
Mhm.
longer at the whim of whoever.
Which again is the ultimate freedom. If no one can offend me, now people might offend me. I shouldn't say their actions may be offensive, but what I do with that emotion
Right.
is mine.
Do I choose to be offended?
Well, it's not choose to be offended because their actions might be offensive,
Right.
but do I choose to react back in hatred
Yeah.
out of offensive?
And I guess that's a better way to state that, right? Is that how do I behave?
Mm-hmm.
I might have the thought, regarding whatever they might have done, and I might be thinking I want to punch this guy in the face.
Yeah.
But what do I do instead?
Right. What do I do? What do I really want? And and that's really mastery of self at that point.
Yeah.
But I agree. These are simple things that are fun, that can make the holidays fun.
Mm-hmm.
That can make it the family get-togethers, and if you have any, punch, pouring and throwing,
Yeah.
and
Broken plates.
broken plates,
It's,
you
all the other fun things we hear about.
Yes, please share those with your therapist. They need those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can help with the emotions that come up from that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, understand that it's okay.
Yeah.
Life goes on. Tomorrow comes. We'll all get through this together.
We don't need to get stuck on that.
Yeah. Don't get stuck. That's a good point. Don't
Yeah.
get stuck.
So, as always, we encourage you guys to like, share this video. Leave comments if you have a funny holiday story to share about a family gathering. We'll read them.
I collect stories.
Yeah.
I love stories.
Like, share us on Facebook, Instagram, any of our social medias. We're out there. But anyways, we appreciate everyone sticking around, listening to us kind of talk about this. We felt it would be an important topic to cover.
Oh, yeah. But it's also fun. This has really become my therapy. The more we've done it, the more I'm like,
looking forward to it.
I do. I do. I hated the idea when you first brought it up like a year ago. I was like, oh, heck no.
But here we are.
But you persuaded me.
Yeah.
See? Listening persuades.
That's right.
You did persuade
Curiosity.
me. Uh-huh. Oh, I remember that day. But please come back.
Yeah.
If not, we're going to keep doing it because this is my therapy.
Yeah. And we, hope all of you have a great Thanksgiving this upcoming week, and we'll see you next time on the lighter side of heavy things.